quick before we get into the video. Did you know that approximately 73% of you are not subscribed? That hurts my feelings. You should hit that funny little subscribe notification and the bell. It helps me feed my 45 Guatemalan children. Alright, let's do this silly video. Alright, now I don't usually do part twos on my channel. I usually just make a video and move on to something else. However, this is a topic that's very close and very personal to me, and though I, feel like it kind of deserves a part two. So we're gonna go back to a little bit of a silly situation I was involved in a month ago. Now, if the title was anything to go off of, yes, these silly goobers who accused me very falsely, openly, of a sex crime, responded. And it was quite bad. That's the purpose of this video. Let's just make fun of them again. Now, despite being publicly exposed for lying, how do you think they saw all the evidence and made a very well-articulated response? Do you think they had a very sophisticated, intellectual way of responding to everything levied against them? Or do you think they just decided to lie more? Because I'm going to be honest, the answer probably won't shock you. It's definitely B. They just lied more. That's why we're here. Now, not everything is still up. They actually deleted a lot of their stuff. But we're going to just go through a lot of things that I learned since that video. Now, one thing I want to start off with, Honk, Jam's boyfriend, he said he was going to make a video debunking everything, and he said that he resolved everything in private, and that there was no need to make a response publicly. Like, that. Why did I make a silly video? Why would I ever make a video? It's not like these people suck and I should have made a video long ago. Why would I make one now? Well, I don't know if this video ever came out. I don't think he ever did make it. If he did, I certainly didn't see it, and it probably wasn't very good. Honk, Benny, and Jam responded. I didn't see if Ada responded. I don't think she did. And honestly, there's not really a way she could respond after everything that was thrown against her. It's basically concrete that she sucks. I don't think anyone's going to have any intellectual debates on whether or not Ada sucks, because I think we can all agree that it's pretty open and closed case that Ada isn't the best person. But Jam and Benny decided to give some interesting responses. Now, before I go into anything Jam said, I'm going to quickly look at the few things Benny said, because Benny said a lot less than Jam. Jam said way more. In the comments of my original thread, Logover responded. So if I understand this right, after a night of poor communication concerning an adult club, this group parted ways with you and used a moment where you made someone uncomfortable by touching their knee to paint you as a R-word/SA. This is fucking absurd. Jam responds, not the situation. Wolfgang had made a lot of us generally uncomfortable to be around during the con, and we stopped talking to him before the Benny stuff came out. More info in my thread here. To which Lago responds, I'm looking through this thread, and it's leaving me with a lot more questions than answers, such as the reasoning of Benny declining to pursue the legal action, changing between Wolfgang already lost enough, and now he would have, but he doesn't have my name, which is also a stupid reason. For those of you who don't live in the US or don't know what a subpoena is a written order demanding a person to attend court, which does involve online instances. For example, if someone was pretending to be me and being super racist, I could subpoena them and make them show up in court. Now, it's very rarely used, but, hell, if your reasoning is you couldn't get any of my info, you could subpoena me. That's a legally binding thing. Now, obviously, you can't, because it wouldn't go anywhere. Obviously, you would subpoena me for a very false sexual crime that you've basically admitted was false and that you guys were lying out of your ass for. Which also, you say that you talked to your parents and they were super into legal. Your parent, I can get you're dumb enough not to know this, but your parents? I don't believe it. Now, Benny's response. The first one was back in July. I was told the behavior was reportable and I could take legal action. Wait a minute. That's different than what they said. Jam said Benny told them about this. But now you're saying you were told by other people this is bad. So who's saying this is bad? Because that's the person we should be throwing tomatoes at. But I said I wouldn't gain anything from it because I didn't need that closure, and I just hoped he would leave me alone after the backlash. I still don't plan on pursuing it. So you don't plan on pursuing me for that. Fine. You know what? I think we can all agree it wouldn't go anywhere anyway because it's fucking stupid. You believe it or not, touching someone's knee after they say they want to have sex with you is not a sex crime. Crazy, I have to explain that to adults. The second one, and this is the funny one, was much later on in September. I found out he was making a targeted YouTube video, and I had legal help in regards to harassment, but we couldn't put anything in motion as I didn't have his name and address at the time. All I have wanted from the second I ignored his DMs after Anthrocon, in reality much sooner, was for him to leave me alone. I don't think he did what he did with malicious intent, but the video is clearly retaliatory. I still regret his decision to make it public. Yeah, well, believe it or not, when you publicly accuse me of being a rapist, I'm going to respond. Believe it or not, when you're the one to start all this by vague tweeting, calling me a racist, and then going in private and telling people exactly who you're talking to, I have the legal right to respond. But let me explain this to you in their terms. Publicly making false rape accusations, totally A-okay. You're all good. That's totally fine. Me debunking their incredulously false allegations and making them look quite bad and stupid. Illegal. No, Wolfgang, you can't do that. How dare you debunk our false allegations and make us look stupid? So that's what Benny said. Now, I mean, listen. And here's another thing that they kept doing is you made this public first, which not only isn't true, as we've already established. This all started when Benny publicly was vague tweeting about me, calling me a racist, and then when people would ask who they're talking about, they'd go directly into their DMs and tell me. Then I tried to resolve the situation. You didn't want to. You were totally fine going to people telling them I was a sexual assaulter, a rapist, whatever fucking name you want to put on it. It's bad regardless. You were totally fine doing that. But suddenly, I come out publicly and say, hey, these people kinda suck. Suddenly, now I'm the villain. Oh, I'm Dr. Evil. I'm Dr. Robotnik. So yeah, I don't believe a single thing these people said. I mean, I think they're just pulling shit out of their ass. Listen, you started all this, and you keep saying I'm the one who started all this. No, it's incredibly obvious who started this whole thing. You publicly vague tweeted calling me a sexual, abuser, which, falsely, by the way, you guys admit to, is false. You then are going into people's DMs with the justification that you've hung out with them once, so therefore they're obligated to know who I am. And then when I actually do try to resolve it privately and go, hey, that's not what this is at all, suddenly, nope, we don't want to talk to you. We don't want to do that at all. Believe it or not, I'm not the one who started all this. And by the way, in terms of legal help involving harassment, am I telling people to go and target you? Am I telling people to go burn this fucking guy's house down? I'm not saying that at all. Don't leave these people alone. They're just stupid. Just these people suck. They're just dumb people that should be forgotten about. I'm not telling people to go fucking spam your comments and say all this mean shit. I actively stand against that in every single video I've ever made. I don't like people being harassed. I don't like people being doxxed. I don't like any of that stuff. People should just know who the bad people is so they can avoid them. That's what I want. So when I make a video on a bad guy, that's your signal to just ignore that person. Don't go out there, don't dox their family, don't be a huge asshole to them. Just ignore them. Just don't ever interact with them again. They just suck. That's really what the purpose of my channel is. And that's all I did in this situation too. When I was told this brought your family into it, I took down everything. When you were told that not only did this make me suicidal, it brought my family into it, and as we'll find out later, it had people trying to do very real-world things to me. You guys didn't care. In fact, you actively opposed taking anything down. But, what do I know? I am just a silly wolf man who covers silly Twitter drama. That's all the Benny stuff. I mean, for me, it looks like Benny's trying to shift blame, but, what do I know? Now let's get to the funny one. Let's get to Jam's response. Now, one thing you will notice, Jam's whole response is on their alt account, because if they put this on their main, they would have looked retarded. That's really the reality. It's not because they didn't want to put drama on their main. It's because if they put this on their main, people would have saw my thread and been like, holy fuck, you suck. You're a terrible person. They start their thread off. Got about 12 words for you. Trust the people who were there and not the ones who weren't. If you want to hear my side, gladly DM me. I'll give a brief rebuttal in the replies, but I feel no need to keep this going as it was resolved 3 months ago. First of all, if you want to hear my side, DM me. We won't talk about it publicly. No, everything has to be private now that I'm involved. Now that I'm implicated as a bad person, now we gotta do all of it private. And also it was solved 3 months ago. I made it very obvious in the video. It was not solved. It was solved for you guys. Because you wanted to just do this. You wanted to just fuck me over, try to ruin my online presence, and just move on. It was over for you because, well, you said it was. You wanted me to be a sexual abuser, and you want to just move on with your life. No, that's not how it happens. Your friends were still publicly calling me a rapist months later. And they never took it back. You never took it back. So no, this was never resolved. It's never been resolved. You just wanted to move on. Because you realized if people thought about this for like a millimeter of a second, you would be the asshole in this situation. I want to aforemention that most of this started due to me and my friends cutting Wolfgang off for being overall weird at Anthrocon before we even heard anything happened. I didn't know you guys thought I was being weird at Anthrocon until after you like publicly started implicating that I was like a sexual abuser. No, it didn't start with this. I didn't even know this was true until like after that. I will also say when they said weird guy, they meant just like being distant and quiet that whole time. Different than the false criminal allegations they're making. We got to differentiate the two. I will also say it's just kind of entirely deflection. Why are we talking about like what relevancy does this have to the fact that you made false allegations? I'm also stating that I feel I did no wrong in supporting a friend who came to me saying they were made uncomfortable by his actions. I'm a victim of SA myself, and it is a sensitive topic for me. Hey, so here's another thing. I'm a victim of SA, and I think you're a horrible person. So to have a friend tell me it happened to them left me very upset. Notice this too. To have a friend tell me it happened to them. But Benny is saying that they were told, other people told them it was SA. But now here's Jam saying they were told. It's just flip-flopping. This is a very minor point, but as we can tell, we're going to find a lot of these. Now to get to the thread. Nothing wrong with the beginning statement, besides the claim that Benny said touching is SA. Nobody had used that word before. Wolfgang had made it public and used it himself. Benny had stated they were clearly made uncomfortable. Wolf had also followed us during con. He was not asked to. Okay, so Benny publicly said in their thread that they were SA'd by me. It doesn't matter if I used the word first. That's the implication that you made when you said people need to respect their boundaries. And then in the DMs, you made that same claim. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it doesn't matter who used the word first. The fact is, you kept using it. I said, this feels like what you guys are doing. You're accusing me of this. And then you publicly went ahead and kept using it. Also, no, I'm not the one who made it public. Believe it or not, vague tweeting about someone and then telling people exactly who you're talking about, that's you making it public. I'm sorry if you're not intelligent enough to understand that, but that's what it is. Wolf also followed us during the con. He was not asked to. I was walking with my roommates at a convention that, we all paid to hang out together. I didn't realize I needed to ask people to, hey roommate, that was going to drive us here. Do you want me to accompany you? I didn't realize I was like a Fallout companion and I could only hang out with people upon being asked to. I didn't realize I had to just walk around on my own, but could only walk with people that I knew if I was directly told to, hey, follow me. I'm just like, okay, I guess I will. Yeah, if I pay money to hang out with people to do all this, no shit, I'm gonna walk around with you. What? It wasn't like following. It's not like stalking, like it's fucking Dead by Daylight, like I'm Ghostface peeking around the corner. I walked around with you because you're the people I paid money to hang out with. Of course, if you're with us, Benny will introduce you to his friends, as he was also introducing me at the same time. Next screenshot. I was not aware of the dinner, but again, the parties were generally just our Airbnb all going together as Benny was paying for the rides. No, not true. Alright, so let's deconstruct this point. Benny will introduce you to his friends. Okay, but why did he specifically hang out with just me the second day? Why are you not acknowledging that at all? Why are you not acknowledging he took specifically me to dinner when we were with other people, but the two of us went off to dinner? Why are you not acknowledging that you say it's the Airbnb going to places, but the sex club? No, he brought specifically me. You guys weren't there. And in fact, Benny told me not to tell you we were there. Why are you also not acknowledging the fact that we all agreed we told Crystal she couldn't come? Which is another point. Why are you not able to tell me no, but you could tell Crystal no? Benny came on late and didn't pay for the Airbnb, so that's why we had him pay for the Ubers. By the way, it was just a small thing. I still ended up paying for the Ubers and dinner sometime, despite paying for, half the Airbnb. And one of the days entirely, we had Auto drive us. There were like 3 days, and Auto drove us like 1.5. So yeah, I don't know why you're comparing this. The Airbnb was like fucking $200 to $350. Benny paid maybe like 75 in Ubers. I also wanted to oh god. So we're about to get to the funniest clip. This is where Jam's boyfriend Honk says that sexual assault is not rape. I also want to defend the clip as my boyfriend has a speech impediment and was constantly being yelled over, worsening it. He said sexual assault is not rape, and that rape and sexual assault are still terrible. But Wolfgang was saying that we claimed rape when that was not the situation. Whether you agree or not is up to you, but that comes down to semantics. Let me just cut in here. So, as someone with a speech impediment, that doesn't just make me prone to say, retarded things, believe it or not. Just because I have a speech impediment and I stutter a few times doesn't mean that I'm going to say horrible things. Also, the end was constantly being yelled over, worsening it. You know what? I can't do this clip justice. I'm going to play you the whole clip over it. And we're going to see if Jam's boyfriend stutters or is yelled over when he says sexual assault doesn't equal rape.
Okay. It's not okay. If somebody's uncomfortable, you're taking the term sexual assault and turning it into like saying that it's rape or something. This is something that I was speaking to about with I'm not going to disclose their name, but I was talking to them about this, and they were comparing sexual assault to rape. And I think that that's an insane claim. I think that sexual assault is something that sounds very jarring, but in reality, it isn't as bad as like the name really sets it to be.
Oh, look at that. It's almost like no one interrupted him when he said that whole thing. It's almost like he didn't really stutter when he said that whole thing. What's your excuse now? He said sexual assault doesn't equal rape, and that rape and sexual assault are still terrible. All right, well, first of all, sexual assault is kind of rapey. Yeah, so no. You're backing up a statement that probably is the statement that pisses the most people off. He doesn't say rape and sexual assault are still terrible. He actively said sexual assault isn't as bad as it sounds. How are you trying to argue it? This is literally an audio form. But that's why it's believable, because as you'll notice, Jam didn't actually post the clip, they just screenshotted it. Because if you could view the clip, it debunks this whole claim. Next, Benny was planning on pursuing legal action. He couldn't because he did not have your legal name and address, which his parents needed. I also want to mention, do not have the timestamp, but it's in the video, one of Wolf's defenders consistently victim blamed by saying that Benny should have gone and gotten a rape kit if he was essayed. This is a horrendous argument. Jesus Christ. Oh, I do also need to mention this. By the way, the reason I'm saying that you claimed rape, Jam, is because you specifically, you, Jam Worthington, Jam Signet Worthington, the third, the more like the turd. You said we were defending a friend who said they were raped.
Why are there so many people here?
Oh yeah, because we are defending a fucking friend who was called a rapist.
Yeah, and we're defending a friend who said they were
violent.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, goes back on the whole thing of Benny saying they were told by others it was sexual assault, and we're flip-flopping again. It's you can't get a consistent story, man. Next, Benny was planning on pursuing legal action. He couldn't because he did not have your legal name and address, which his parents needed. I also want to mention, do not have the timestamp, but it's in the video, one of Wolf's defenders consistently victim blamed by stating that Benny should have gone and gotten rape kid if he was SA'd. This is a horrendous argument as it blames the victim for not immediately going to the police. I didn't when I was SA'd because I was traumatized by the experience, and it wasn't my first thought. So, here's the thing. When Labrat brought that up, being like, why wouldn't you go to the police? You immediately did the same thing. You asked me why I didn't go to the police. Why did you do the same thing if it's such a problem? Also, this is just a personal thing. You can't really victim blame if there's not a victim. Yeah, believe it or not, LARPing as a rape victim doesn't make you one. I really don't like that we're comparing actual instances of sexual assault, like mine and yours, to this, because this isn't even remotely close, and you'd have to be borderline like a vegetable to think it is. Oh god, here you go. Do not have physical proof, but if you ask the people who were there when the club was discussed, Wolfgang had asked, is it a sex thing? And we said, of course it's a sex thing, it's a furry bathhouse. I didn't go to the club, so any further mentions on it I will abstain from. So, I want you to know, if you've seen the clip, Jam and Otta both said that they do have proof of me acknowledging it. The only physical proof that exists is Benny himself saying that they didn't tell me it was a sex club. At most, they told me it was a nudity club, which I don't even think they did that. I was told it was a gay club with free alcohol. But as they said, they had proof, and now they're, walking it back because they don't have proof.
That was when I was brought to the sex club without being told. By the way.
Okay, well, first of all, we did tell you. We did tell you.
First of all, and there is video, and there is proof of you acknowledging that. You acknowledged.
Can we see that proof, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that proof.
Oh, one of us have it.
Because I also have fucking.
One of us have it.
Saying,
Yeah.
oh, they told me it was a nudity club, not a sex club. Big difference.
We said, okay, we said it was a furry bathhouse, yes. Is it a sex thing? We said, it's a furry bathhouse. Of course it's a sex thing.
Can we see
That
this?
was said,
No, because
this is
let me
speak.
Let me speak. Here's what happened. We left the con to go to the Airbnb. We watched 2 episodes of South Park, and I played a level of Hotline Miami. I can name the exact fucking episodes and level in Hotline Miami. They told me there was a bath floor, and there was a floor for sex, for beds. Okay? And then when we get to the con, we tell you guys where we're going, and then we go there.
And then it's
So
fucking
this-
bears pounding twinks.
So let me explain this real quick. Okay. That literally proves nothing. That doesn't prove at all.
Yeah, that does
I'm
not
just
prove
establish the
anything.
timeline. I'm just trying to
Okay,
establish.
okay.
Well, your
I'm just
logic,
saying,
you could have left the bath out.
I'm saying right now, if that's proof of me knowing it's like a sex club, that is
Wait,
the weakest
question.
shit.
No, that just adds more context. I'm still okay.
Okay, alright, I'm just saying.
Also, hey, this is future Wolfgang here. I just realized something. In this clip, when I was brought to the sex club without being told that it was a sex club, they actively tell me that I could have left at any point. Now, I mean, yeah, you can make that argument. But at the same time, isn't that also, victim blaming? Which is the same thing that you guys were so up in arms about happening to Benny? The difference is Benny isn't a victim of anything. They're a victim of being a retard. I was actually brought to a sex club without being told it was a sex club. Believe it or not, Jam, if you lie throughout a whole thing and then you're like, well, you're just going to trust me, people aren't going to trust you. It's just kind of how that works. So, no, don't believe this person because they've done nothing but lie throughout this whole situation. They were exposed for lying 5 minutes into the call. When they were telling people that they were there when I put my hand on Benny's knee. And then it was fucking, well, I don't know if I was there. I was just told by Benny I was, so I went along with it. These people are nothing but liars, and it's been consistently proven throughout this whole thing. They're self-admitted manipulators and gaslighters. So no, we're not going to trust you. I would also like to mention I will not be speaking out on behalf of others in this thread, as it is not my duty. Just general events and things I am relevant towards. I think parts of the situation were mistreated by both parties. Like, parts of the situation were... How? I don't understand what you're, trying to do here, buddy. Let me explain to you this. You could have dropped me for, thinking I was weird. I wouldn't have cared. That's not what I cared about. Did you see me, fucking going publicly on Twitter going oh, these people dropped me for being weird. What douchebags? No, I went public on Twitter because you accused me of a very serious sex crime. You tried to get my whole life ruined. I'm not pissed off that you wanted to drop me. No, I'm pissed off that you tried to accuse me of a crime that I myself have been a victim of. You entire douchebag. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I gave you the chance to talk privately. You didn't want to talk privately. And then when we did talk privately, you literally self-admitted manipulated me to get your own, like, narrative out. To do what you wanted. So, to say, I think parts of the situation were mistreated by both parties. If you want to make that argument, you can go ahead. But the reality is, the scale is definitely leaning down towards one side, and it's not mine. We asked both of you to take down the threads. You said yes immediately. Benny did not. We aren't Benny and can't control him, but we did ask multiple times in VC and over text. According to Benny, it was one of you guys who told them that this was a sexual assault. And even when the thread was taken down, you outright said, oh, this isn't a retraction of anything. They still stand by everything. And yes, I wasn't going to take down my thread. In the first call, it took you guys like an hour to convince me to. You absolutely could have. You just didn't. I don't believe for a second you didn't have the power to get them to take down this thread. Yes, I did say I would retweet the thread, if accurate. The thread was not accurate in my eyes, and I felt no obligation to. I also never mentioned the situation on my platform, and felt like it had no purpose to be on there. Call it whatever you want, but I felt it would just continue the issue. How? Oh my god. So, let me explain what the thread was. I made the thread saying that I wasn't a sexual assaulter. You said you would retweet it, and you did. Jam, I want to ask you a question. What is not accurate in that thread? That I'm not a sexual assaulter? Isn't that what we discussed, what we agreed with? Isn't that why you said you wanted to be friends with me again in the original call? That was what we agreed with. That was all the statement was, is like, I've talked to people behind the scenes. No, I'm not a sexual assaulter. So what's not accurate in that? Or do you still think I am? And we can continue this another fucking 5 months. And to also say, I had no purpose to share it on my platform as it would not end anything. Yeah, it would. You have the largest audience of all of us, and you're one of the most against me people out there. So if you tweeted that out, that would absolutely be the end of it. You realize that's why all this happened, right? Is because you just couldn't take the L. You had to keep it going. That's really it. You still could have dropped me after all this. All you had to do was just own up to your fucking bullshit that I'm not a rapist or a sexual assaulter or whatever you want to call it. They're both on the same level. And you didn't do that. And now we're here, buddy. We're on part 2. So please keep it going, and I'll get part 3. I will make one mention for somebody else being my partner. The situation put him through multiple panic attacks that left him physically ill. I'm not saying you did it intentionally, but he was not in the right mind space, and being yelled at for hours did not help. Alright, well, hey, asshole, I don't really care. You and your group publicly tried to paint me as a racist. So I don't care if Honk was a big old grumpy pants and that it hurt their feelings. You openly tried to call me a racist. You don't really have the the room to be like, oh, my feelings. He said what he said. It can't be changed. I can't say he didn't mean to say it because I'm not him, but that's my 2 cents on that. My last word to wrap it up, because they were left out of the thread, consent is revocable. Just because you said you do something once doesn't mean they now have to, now or any time future. God, this was written so fucking poorly. So, let me explain this. Yeah, consent is revocable. No means no. Obviously, we can all agree on that. Benny said later every single time. That's not no. That's later. And so then I would ask later. That's how that works. And then they, after they then bring me to a sex club. Even though I didn't know it was a sex club before I went in there. And by the way, we've now essentially confirmed that no, I was never made aware it was a sex club. If you want to prove me wrong, you can finally post that evidence. Oh wait, it doesn't exist. Because there is none. But I do want to address this screenshot. Now, I made it more clear in my video. I'm sorry if you took me letting you off easy and constantly putting it off as me leading you on. I thought swatting your hand away in the back of the Uber those couple times wouldn't have given you a hint. To which I said, didn't swat my hand away, just pulled it away and said you're fine to hook up, just not for physical affection. You could have just said no. Yeah, if I asked you, hey, do you still want to have sex? And you said no, that would have been the end of it. Instead, you kept saying later and later and later. And then I asked you later, and you said, no, we'll do it later. So you say later, and then I ask you later, and then you say later again. How am I wrong? That doesn't make sense. I phrased this very poorly in this tweet, and I did take this down because, Ada explained to me that, hey, this kind of makes you look bad when you explain this like this, which is why I actually, went and made clarifications on it in the video. And in fact, I'm actually going to do something very unique. I'm going to draw a very detailed image of essentially what happened with the hands. All right, so here we go. So here's Benny's hand, and here's my hand, and I just bring my hand up, and I put like the little bits of my fingers on their hand, like not entirely my whole hand, but just like the edge of my fingers onto their fingers, and then they pull their hand out from underneath, not like fighting me off like they said, and then they sent me the message. Also to Wolfgang, if you are reading this, I hope you one day come to realize that you made a mistake. You were first to use the term essay, you made it public. We even told you we didn't think you meant any harm, hence why it wasn't. You accepted that and then decided not to. Okay. Does it matter who first used the term? The fact is what you were implying. You were openly implying that I was like a sex criminal. And then in our DMs with Benny said basically the same thing. You made it public. No, that's been very well debunked. You were vague tweeting about me. You were telling people in DMs who it was. No, I'm not the one who made this public. And no matter how hard you try to fight that to be true, it's just not. We even told you we didn't think you meant any harm, hence why it wasn't. You said that because you were walking things back. You were playing it safe in case I did something, in case I came out publicly, which I did, and then you fucked up this response and you made it even worse. And here's the statement where I admit to a whole bunch of things that I was, manipulated and controlled and gaslit into actually saying. But yeah, I guess I'm just, wow, I can't be, that's crazy. You're literally like ignoring you'd have to be ignoring everything that Honk and Ada said. Ada literally said she controlled what I was saying in order to, get me to accomplish her goals. You literally have Honk saying that they gaslit me. I don't know why you think me saying this is like such an own. Yeah, believe it or not, you can manipulate someone into saying fucking everything. There's multiple cases of people being gaslit and manipulated into saying stupid things all the fucking time on the internet. Look at the fucking Spockter. Do you remember that Spockter drama? For those of you who don't know about this drama, Spockter was a art commentary YouTuber. They're gone now. I think they actually legitimately got canceled. But originally, when they were accused of pedophilia, they admitted to it. They said, I was in the wrong. And then adults stepped in and proved, no, you're not. They're like intentionally cutting off messages. Just because you admit to something doesn't mean it's true. Especially if the people who are against you openly admit to controlling and gaslighting and manipulating what you're saying. Believe it or not, that can entirely invalidate anything you admit to. And no, touching someone's knee after they say they want to have sex with you is not a crime. It's not rape. It's not sexual assault. It's nothing. It is, I don't understand how how this hasn't clicked with you. This is why this is still going. Because you won't concede to the fact that you're wrong. Also, continually blocking me and making posts about me goes against what you said. You said any contact would be public for all to see, but you've taken away my ability to make that contact with you and pussied out by blocking me then responding. Well, I'll make this real quick, Jam. Here's a public invitation, because I know you're going to watch this video. You're going to sit there big and mad and your little server VCs. I bet your fists are so clenched right now. You just got that stress ball in your hand. You're so mad. Here's my open invitation. I'm going to host a Twitter space after this video is up. Give it like an hour. Show up. Be there. Come on. If you really want to talk to me, if you want to do this publicly, like I said we could, let's do it. That's what I meant. I always meant let's do a Twitter space. Now, by the way, someone based as fuck. You really just want to be right and not admit your wrongs. Wolfgang admitted his wrongs and took it back because it realized it made him look like shit. When multiple people are saying he was weird and made them feel weird being around him in person along with my own experiences, I'm inclined to believe my friend in saying he was weird. Your friend is saying I'm a criminal. They're not saying I'm weird. They're saying I committed a crime, Jam. That's a very serious thing, too. And that's what you don't seem to get. You seem to think this is tee-hee, ha-ha, funny Twitter drama. This is really not. You know that this, like, personally affected me. It affected my family. It affected my livelihood. It affected a whole lot. So to say that this is like, oh, Wolfgang just did this because it made him look like shit. No, because I actually had people, unlike you, who genuinely cared about me, who told me, you didn't do anything wrong here. Believe it or not, you being a sexual assault victim and a retard, and believe Benny, doesn't mean you're automatically right. Do you know how many sexual assault victims don't agree with you? There's a lot, Jam. There's actually quite a considerable amount of people who think you're dog shit, who think you're lower than human. You realize that, right? Not everyone agrees with you. And throwing around, I'm a sexual assault victim, I know what's best. You're a terrible fucking person. You're awful. You're genuinely, like, lower than low. You're at the bottom of the totem pole. You guys are Vex if you weren't into animals. That's really it. You're just as manipulative and fucking, like, evil as he is, really. By the way, yeah, as this Mario Draws person posted, by the way, based as fuck. I actually made it clear in my video. To clarify on this point, the reason I took down all my posts originally and never defended myself is because they told me this put Benny in a suicidal place, and that Benny's family had gotten involved. After I deleted my post, Benny posted a thread calling me a sexual assaulter for touching their knee, after Benny said they wanted to fuck me. Then, after they found out I became actually suicidal, they said I was just baiting, by the way, which is important because they tried to use Jam's fucking boyfriend being, like, insane as, like, and like, oh, look what you're doing to us. It's like, okay, buddy, look what you've done to me. I want it to be pointed out that Benny was not suicidal upon my initial post, and it was just a lie so I would shut up. Yeah, that's all true. They admit that in the video. But by the way, gonna link that in the description again. Thank you, Pobs, for reporting that. If you want to watch an hour of TF2 gameplay and listen to retards. Now let's get to the funniest point. I want to mention, this guy is friends with someone who drew himself fucking a cat, even after knowing it happened, if that's all you need to know about his character as seen in this thumbnail art. Now, real quick, Lago pointed this out. This just seems like them poisoning the well. That's really it, yeah. This was just a Hail Mary. And there are a couple of retards who fell for this. Here's my stance on Optical. And this isn't a new stance. I've had this stance for a very long time. If you go back and look at the RoboCop video, I addressed my stance on Optical there. If you go and look at a couple of YouTube shorts, I have Optical in there. My friendship with Optical was never like a hidden thing. So here's the story. Optical, when they were 18, they had a very fucked up way of thinking. They've told me that they were groomed into this way of thinking. And they drew a piece of art that's not good. Now, obviously, I don't agree with that art. I've never agreed with art like that. My stance on art like that is very open. I hate shit like that. However, I do think someone who's 18 groomed into that way of thinking, who 2 years later has done nothing but condemn that art, can change as a person. I don't think Optical's a zoophile. I think there's someone who made a very bad choice and was groomed into a very bad way of thinking. That's my thoughts on Optical. So no, you're trying to make it sound like I'm a zoophile, Jam. I'm really not. And there's multiple videos on top of videos where that's not the case. I've done nothing but condemn those fucking disgusting creeps. Optical isn't a zoophile. He's just someone who was groomed into a bad way of thinking. And all he's done since that was, like, frowned upon, since people are like, dude, what the fuck is this, is apologize. He's done nothing. He's never tried to, like, stand up for that art. He's never tried to justify it. He's never tried to do anything like that. All he said is, this was fucked up. I had a bad way of thinking when I was younger. I solemnly disavow this. Yeah, believe it or not, that sounds like a person who's not, like, a zoophile. That sounds like someone who genuinely had a bad way of thinking. And I'm not going to be someone who's like, oh, you did this, well, you can only be bad ever. You can't ever possibly change. Because there is a limit where after a while it's like, no, you're just gone. Like, if the fucking Kiro came back and was like, yeah, I don't think dogs are sexy anymore, I'd be like, no, fuck off. You're already gone. However, I think Kiro and Optical are two very different people. Kiro has done a lot of bad involving that. Optical has drawn one piece, and all he's done since that piece is publicly condemn it. That's not to say I think Optical should get off scot-free. I think there should be some level of punishment, and I think them losing their entire 1,000-follower Twitter presence, honestly more, is fair. I think they deserve to lose their public platform if they post something like that. Like I said, don't think they're bad, but I think that's fair punishment. I will say, I said publicly on here when this was brought up that I got the stills before I knew anything Optical did, and that's true. I got the stills before I knew anything Optical did. However, upon hearing this very egregious thing, I did reach out to Optical and go, what the hell is this, man? This is fucking weird. And Optical went, yeah, when I was 18, I drew something bad, and it was a very fucked up thing to do. I had a very warped perspective about shit, and I don't do that anymore. What? Is that like such a bad take? I won't ever agree with the art that Optical drew. He doesn't agree with the art he ever drew. In fact, I've done nothing but condemn him for that. And like I said, I do think him losing his Twitter platform is justifiable punishment. I don't think he's a zoophile. I think he was someone who had a bad way of thinking, and thankfully he doesn't think that way anymore. I do think that people have the ability to change. I don't think people are just going to be bad people forever. Obviously, there's a few people who won't ever get better, but I don't think Optical is one. By the way, the last thing I'll say about the whole Optical thing is about the stills. The reason there have been a significant lack of stills since I've come back is just because I can't align myself with this community right now because of, the actions of these people and the sheer amount of people who believe absolute bullshit. Honestly, it's just kind of disparaging, and I really can't think of myself in a community right now that allows something like this to happen and to let the people who do it get off scot-free. So yeah, that's my stance on Optical, which has been very openly known for a while now. Jam, you've known I've been friends with Optical. Why did you only make this a huge deal after I came out and said you're kind of a douchebag? Like I said, you're like Vex. You had dirt that was just waiting for if I ever wasn't cool with you anymore. And I think that's awful to try and skew that my perfectly reasonable stance is like me being okay with zoophiles when I've done nothing but condemn them on this channel. And I will continue to condemn them. I'm not cool with zoophiles, and I will never be cool with zoophiles. I also have one more thing I have to add on here, not because I totally forgot about it. Recently, a friend of mine reached out telling me something about this situation, about how some people, upon hearing about this situation, were trying to get me doxxed. I say, can you at least tell me what happened? Literally, there's some random dude DMing me asking me to dock you and kept offering to pay for it. I wouldn't worry much, most doxers like you. The Weens literally honor you. I'm gonna be real, if someone tries to dox you, they'll probably harass the shit out of said person. Yeah, people trying to pay to get me doxxed. You know, Jam and all them, they don't care. Why would they care? It's not like their very false accusations led to this, to people trying to find where I live, to people threatening my family. No, it doesn't matter, because their boyfriend had a panic attack because of all this. Jeez, I wonder what that's like. Maybe they can try getting called a racist to 15,000 people, see how that plays out. So yeah, that's basically everything. They were called out. They were exposed for everything. And they just, they just lied more. They tried to make me out to be a zoophile. They kept trying to make me a sexual assaulter or a rapist or whatever the hell they want me to be this time. These people are bad. They don't even know. They're trying to pin the blame on each other. There are two more things I want to address. I made a tweet about Jam and all them. By the way, the reason my burning hatred for these false accusers was reignited is because I've been personally informed that the false lies they made caused people to try and dox me. Some people even trying to pay to have me doxed. Doxed over complete bullshit. To which a completely random account just says, "I'll anal fuck you." Come over and see that this account was made November 2024 and that this was their only post ever. An account made today to reply to my one post directly about Jam & Co. I don't want to say it's one of them or their buddies or anyone involved with them, but I don't think I'm crazy for thinking it is. However, when I made this, another account said that they'll post the dox bin, which is another account made just to reply to me. I don't know. Me personally, I think it's one of them, but obviously I don't have anything to go with that. Hey guys, Future Wolfgang here. Now, I know I have to keep re-recording shit because new shit keeps happening. It gets funnier and funnier. So, you know that entire thread that we just spent the past half an hour debunking? I recorded the audio for this on November 16th. It's currently November 19th when I'm hoping to finish editing this. Well, I go to look at the Jam's account to get screenshots of the thread and what Benny said and all that stuff. Find out Jam deleted their whole thread about me. That's right. Every single thing that we've been debunking in this entire video, Jam deleted all of it. Now, what Jam is hoping for is, you know, they found out that I was making this video, and they kind of just hoped that I wouldn't be able to get all the stuff to make the video. They figured if I didn't have any of the screenshots that I'd have to cancel the video. It's too bad I record audio and video at the same time. I had OBS going the whole time, so every single dumbass thing you said, Jam, is forever fucking immortalized. But, yeah, I don't know why you would delete all of that. You kept saying, you know, that you're right and that this is your whole, like, big response thread, but, you deleted all of it when I went to debunk it. Kinda sus. Like I said, I'll be hosting a Twitter space about an hour after this comes out. Follow me on Twitter to get in that. You can speak to me. Hello. I have a Discord server. You guys should join it. It's pretty cool. And I don't know. Later.